Well, I'd like to give a big thank you for all those who came on the retreat yesterday morning, our Kerygma retreat. We had over 100 people show up, which was a fantastic turnout. We almost ran out of food, which was a good problem to have. And for those who organized it, Julie Underko and our evangelization team, as well as our parishioners who gave testimonies at the retreat. It was really quite powerful. Well, many mornings at daily Mass here at Christ the King, there's a young girl, a beautiful girl who has Down syndrome. Her name's Laura. And after Mass, she cannot wait to come up to me, flash me a big smile, and give me a hug. And my heart rejoices no matter what is coming down the line on that day, no matter how the day has started. My day is better because of that innocent joy. She's a bringer of joy. It's just kind of contagious with her. Well, unfortunately, most children with Down syndrome are never born, right? They're aborted. If you follow the stats from a European study, 90%, or a US number is 67%. Why? Why is that child's life deemed not worth living? I mean, Laura appears very glad to be alive. And the world is missing out on all those smiles and the spreading of that innocent joy. You know, we live in a time surrounded by and pressured by what St. John Paul II called the culture of death. The term describes a culture where human beings are seen, in the words of Pope Francis, as disposable. They're not seen as created by a loving God in his own image and likeness. And the power of the culture of death comes from lies and from fears. The lie is that human beings are not made in the image and likeness of God. They do not have an inherent dignity, and so can be used and discarded by those who are more powerful. That an unsupported pregnancy will ruin your life. That if you're old and feeble, you're not worth anything. The fear drives us to think that an unexpected human life is a burden and will thwart our freedom. The culture of death is part of the captivity of the human race under the tyranny of Satan and the power of sin and death. It's an evil stronghold in the world because it dwells in the hearts of people who are driven by lies and by fear. In St. John's Gospel, Jesus says the truth. I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. The truth is that human beings have an infinite value and dignity no matter what they may or may not contribute to society from a worldly point of view. Every human life conceived is willed by God to exist and is created good. Today, Isaiah the prophet is given a word of the Lord foretelling about this suffering servant who will expiate sin, who will justify many by putting them in right relationship with God, that will expiate our guilt. And we would have never have made the connection. We never would have foreseen or even imagined that this suffering servant would be God himself, that he had come to do something about this. Jesus has come to destroy the lies and the fear of the kingdom of darkness and the culture of death, and to rescue us from the power of evil and sin and death. And so what is our response? Having been rescued by Jesus, and of course our own rescue is something that's ongoing, he invites us to join him in rescuing others. He asks us in the words of the letter to the Hebrews to approach the throne of grace to receive mercy and to find grace for timely help. What can we do to help Jesus crush the lies, overcome the fears, and proclaim boldly with great love that every human being conceived is precious and important and to be cherished and welcomed into this world. Well, I think if you think about the year of St. Joseph, we can look to St. Joseph to be an example and a guide in how to go about doing this. I mean, think about it, of the few things that we know about St. Joseph in sacred scripture. After an angel appeared to him in a dream, he welcomed Mary into his home, even though her pregnancy was very mysterious to him. Joseph guided and provided for Mary and the unborn Christ child on the long road to Bethlehem. He welcomed Jesus as his own son and loved him with a father's heart. When baby Jesus' life was threatened by King Herod, Joseph left the comfort and the familiarity of his homeland and took Mary and Jesus to Egypt to protect them. In every circumstance, St. Joseph cared for, defended, and protected the gift of life that had been entrusted to him. We can follow that example. He's our spiritual father and is really good at crushing lies and fear. St. Joseph teaches us that faith in God includes believing that he can work even through our confusion and our fears and our weaknesses. And he embodies the attitude that Jesus calls for in the gospel, right? Not seeking status and dominion in the eyes of the world, but to be servants, to serve the one who is love and truth. And so often we feel like, or are made to feel like, that there's nothing we can do, and our enemy tries to break our spirit and to discourage us. But St. Joseph, the terror of demons, can help us shine the light on those lies and those tricks of the enemy, which is smoke and mirrors. Jesus is Lord, and he asks us to have unshakable confidence in him. And he loves to defeat evil and to humiliate Satan through small things done with love. You know, one concrete response in proclaiming the gospel of life and being a people of life is helping those who are in an unsupported pregnancy to have access to an ultrasound. It has a great effect on lowering the decision to have an abortion. This makes sense because an unsupported pregnancy, a woman can be conflicted about bonding with her child, right? She has the maternal instincts of wanting to bond, but the pressures and the lies and the fears of the circumstances of the pregnancy can make that difficult. An ultrasound gives a mother helpful data. It shows her that this child has a heartbeat. The pregnancy has progressed far enough along, even show the child's body and face. In other words, an ultrasound humanizes the hidden form of the unborn child, affirming the life of both baby and mother. It gives the mother the permission, if you will, to recognize that the child growing within her is indeed a child and to bond with her. And pregnancy resource centers have been established to help those in an unsupported pregnancy, not only by providing free ultrasounds, but helping them to connect with economic and social support that they need to make a life-affirming decision. And we have PRCs in the Portland metro area. One organization is First Image, whose CEO is Larry Gadbaugh, who's a great evangelical Christian with whom I worked when I was the director of pro-life activities for the Archdiocese. And so these ultrasound machines, they cost in the neighborhood of $41,000. And another great pro-life organization is, of course, the Knights of Columbus. And the Knights of Columbus have established this awesome program to help PRCs get state-of-the-art ultrasound machines. They offer a grant program through a local Knights Council so that the National Knights of Columbus, of that 41,000, they donate 20,000 in a grant. So that cuts the price in half. Then the PRC can apply to the Knights of Columbus for their own another grant of $10,000. Drops that down. So a local council only has to raise about $10,000 to get a state-of-the-art ultrasound machine to a PRC. And I'm happy to report that our local nights here at Christ the King have been involved in that. And I mentioned it briefly last week at the end of Mass, and that their efforts have already raised most, if not all, of the $10,000 to get one for the Portland metro area. And in fact, I just heard after the last Mass, some more people donated, and we may be on our way to a second one. I'm just so proud of being a people of life in this parish, that this parish could be able to do that for something that may benefit and save hundreds of lives. Who knows? This is a great small way in which we can have a big impact. And so I want us to keep going in that, to cultivate this culture of life in our parish family, and to proclaim the gospel of life in truth and in love. And part of that too is and I want to say this for anyone who has been tricked or lied to or overcome with fear by our enemy, to have made or be part of that tragic decision to end an innocent human life, whether that person was unborn or disabled or elderly. Come to Jesus. Come to his church. You don't belong to the enemy. You belong with us. There is forgiveness and mercy because all of us live on the mercy of God. And so together with St. Joseph, we can join Jesus in shaking down the walls of the culture of death through our loving witness to the truth that each and every human life conceived is sacred. Jesus came to give us life so that we might have it and have it more abundantly. And so let's help others to life as well. Because I look forward to the next time Laura will be there after Mass to flash her beautiful smile, give me a hug, and make my day.